Hello, I'm Ninja Greg, and you're watching the Ninja Greg Show. And this is my review of Power Rangers. Okay, in this day and age, making movies based on beloved franchises, particularly ones that were children's TV shows, are generally hit and miss, with it leaning a little bit heavier on the miss side. You got the Michael Bay Transformer movies, which some people like, most other people groan because it's Michael Bay. The Ninja Turtle movies got mixed reactions, mostly leaning on the bad. And the less said about Jim and the Holograms was the better. Because that was a movie that not only did not follow through as an adaptation of the source material, but it was just a bad standalone movie. So Power Rangers was already kind of on thin ice to begin with, but as it started to become more apparent that Saban was serious and this was going to be a thing and it wasn't just some joke or something like a lot of people thought it was early on, the more I started to think to myself, okay, I'm willing to accept a lot as long as they don't stray so far from the source material that it doesn't really feel like Power Rangers. But in the end, all I really want is a good movie. So anytime I saw Power Rangers merchandise anywhere, I just thought to myself, oh, please don't suck. Please, God, don't let it suck. And did it suck? No, I really enjoyed it. Okay, so what's it about? Well, unless you've been living under a rock since 1993, Power Rangers is about a team of 5 teenagers with attitude, who don brightly colored spandex uniforms and motorcycle helmets to battle aliens and robots and alien robots to basically keep the Earth safe and protect humanity and all that good superhero stuff. And so this movie is a more modernizing of it, and they kind of pull it off. Yeah, and I got a lot of really positive things to say about this. Like, one of the taglines for the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which, this movie is based off of, was teenagers with attitude, and in the show, they were always kind of nigh perfect goody two-shoes who never did anything bad. But in this movie, it lives up to that slogan of having teenagers with attitude. They talk back, they get into trouble, they're real. The acting for all of them is pretty good. It's believable, and they're interesting with the new dynamics they bring because they're kind of different interpretations of the characters. Like, Zach's not the black dude, he's not the cool black guy. Instead, he's kind of the cool Asian guy who's kind of a crazy thrill seeker. Trini used to be the Asian girl who was a bit of on the activist side, but now she's kind of the weird outcast loner. You got Kimberly, who was the Valley girl, and this Kimberly is not that. But yeah, they're still pretty good. They're still interesting characters. That's what I'm trying to say. And you believe that they're friends because you see them come together. And the action is great, although most of it is not until the climax of the movie, and I'll get into that when I talk about the negatives. But yeah, I thought the new designs on the suits and the Zords were all good. The casting choices were great. I loved Bill Hader as Alpha and Bryan Cranston as Zordon. And I think it's Emily Blunt who played Rita Repulsa. She was, I'm going to be saying this a lot, but she's a different kind of Rita. Where classic Rita is basically the Wicked Witch of the West in outer space. This Rita is creepy and crazy, and I just loved every single second she was on screen. They make it very clear that this is not someone you want to cross paths with, even on her best day. So, yeah, it honestly was respectful to every everything that I remember from classic Power Rangers, and it followed the formula of each episode. Rangers have their putty fight, and then they get the Zords for the giant monster fight, and then they come together to form the Megazord and finish the monster off. And of course, everyone and their mom has said that classic Power Rangers was cheesy and silly, and this movie definitely has moments like that too. There are definitely some light-hearted moments. It's not the dark and gritty reboot that everyone in Hollywood thinks children's franchises needs nowadays to make them more real and relevant. No. This movie, okay, yeah, it does get a little real sometimes, but it's still fun. It's one of the most fun superhero origin movies I've seen in a while. But if I had some things to say about this some negative things to say about this movie, and I do, it's that sometimes with superhero origin movies, while it takes a while to get the main character into their hero role, you get into the action pretty early on. With this, the good action, and it is freaking good action when it does happen, it doesn't happen until like the third act of the movie, when the Rangers finally get into their Ranger suits and use their Zords to battle this movie's version of Goldar. More on him in a bit. But even though it does take a while to get there, when you do get there, you're glad you are there. But yeah, this was clearly made by people who knew what Power Rangers meant to people, knew what was on the line with this movie, and did their best to appeal to both fans of the classic show and the mainstream audience. Because oftentimes with these kind of movies, you end up alienating one or the other, because these kind of movies are made with the mindset that can't please everybody, might as well please half or none. But no, this movie, I think, it was well done. It was respectful to the source material it was based on, and we even get a couple of surprise cameos from, the original power couple of Power Rangers. No, not Bulk and Skull, sadly. I'm talking cameos by, Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson, the original Green and Pink Ranger, respectively, and also the first real couple that we saw on Power Rangers. And yes, they do kind of tease at Tommy being introduced in another movie. Spoilers, sorry. But yeah, this is definitely being set up to be a franchise. This is not just a done-in-one Power Rangers movie, although it would have been fine if it was. Might have been a better move, or not better, might have been a different movie if it was. But yeah, this is, if you stick around to like midway through the credits, which it feels every superhero movie is doing nowadays, yeah, it's clear that this thing is not going to go away anytime soon. And while I did like the references to the shows and the how they connected it back and how they paid respect to the source material, one thing I cannot accept is this movie's version of Goldar. If you're a fan of the classic series, you know that Goldar was one of the main villains. Not the big bad who sent monsters down to fight the Rangers every single day, but he was up there, one of the top supporting bad guy who was basically the second in command. And while he did grow giant size and was the first monster the Rangers fought, he had a very distinct personality and a very distinct look. He was basically a flying monkey, even though his face kind of looked like a dog sometimes, but that's neither here nor there. But in this movie, he's just a faceless, voiceless monster made of liquid gold that admittedly has a cool effect of the gold just continually flowing with every move it makes. And yeah, this movie has some of the worst product placement I've ever seen. And I don't mean like product being thrown at you every single second, because at that point it might as well just be, such and such company presents Saban's Power. No. There's, as far as I know, one company that gets a lot of product placement, and it's made a freaking plot point. Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme donuts is a plot point in Power Rangers. That is a sentence I never thought I'd say. But aside from that, it's still a good action movie. Whether you just want to see a good superhero action movie, or you're a fan of Power Rangers and you want to see if a modern day Power Rangers movie can be made and not completely suck, then yes, I definitely recommend this one. Go Power Rangers to your closest movie theaters and watch this right now. I'm Ninja Greg. You've been watching The Ninja Greg Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell for notifications so you know whenever I put something new up. And may the power protect you.